Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, we are from Group 2. We would like to be talking about communication and interpersonal skill. Before we start our presentation today, I will introduce our group members. There are Mbak Berlian with her last student number is 14, Danang, his last student number is 21, Elly, her last student number is 26, and my name is Rina Mayanti with last student number 80. Welcome to our presentation. We already divide our presentation today into some contents such as definition of communication, communication components, purpose of communication, benefits of studying communication, communication within organization, presentation technique, preparation of presentation, and conclusion. Without any further ado, for the definition of communication will be delivered by Mbak Berlian. Mbak Berlian, the floor is yours.
The first material is a definition of communication. Definition of communication is a process in which someone tries to provide understanding and information by conveying message. That is the definition from James Aston. And communication come from the Latin, namely communicatus. Community means sharing or belonging together. Communication is the process of delivering message by one person to another to tell or to change an attitude, opinion, or behavior. And the next material is a component of communication. There are 8 components of communication. The first is communication environment. It includes 3 dimensions, such as physical communication, means that is that the communication take place in real or not, and the second is social psychology, um, the relationship between the communicator with the communicant, and the third is time, or is that communication doing in hours, days, or the history where the communication take place. Second is source and receiver. The communicator is the source and the communicant is the receiver. When you talk to someone, then wait for the response. You have absorbed this nonverbal cues and you are performing the function of receiver. The third is encoding and decoding. It is an inseparable unit. In communication science, we call the act of generating a message or speaking or writing as encoding, and the receiving message, listening or reading, such it is decoding. And the fourth is communication competence. It refers to a person's ability to communicate effectively. It's according to Spitzberg and Kupets, 19 and 89. These competencies includes a topic whether it is words communicating by listeners or not. And the five is order message are not always in a spoken or written in verbal, but it can be in the form of non-verbal. For examples, the clothes that we wear and the needs of the clothes we wear and another's that what we wear. The sixth of a channel. This channel includes several, namely the vocal tract, visual tract or sign and smell, and the contact of channel, tactile channel. And the seven is feedback. Feedback, feedback. It means what you hear and what you say, um, and your smile or your movement or a slap on the cheek are also called feedback. And And the last is distraction. The point is a disturbance in communication that result in differences in the message you receive is a difference from what has been conveyed.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Danang Widyardika and today I'll talk to you about purpose of communication, function of communication, and the benefit of studying communication. First is the purpose of communication. The purpose of communication first is to be understandable. It can be used to avoid misunderstanding when you communicate. The second is to understand the meaning of other people's words. And the third is to make an idea unacceptable to other people. And lastly, you can motivate yourself or others. Second is the function of communication. There is plenty of function of communication, but I will tell you some of them. First is to pass through information. To pass through information, you need to communicate with your informant. And the second is to present an opinion so that it can be accepted. Third is as a form of interaction with others. And next is as a tool of transferring knowledge. And next to get to know yourself. And next is to persuade others. But most importantly, the function of communication is to be the tool of human interaction with each other. And lastly, the benefit of studying communication. By studying communication, it will give us knowledge about correct communication process, from sending a message, receiving it, etc. And by studying communication, we will know that it has its own specialty. Communication is always needed wherever and whenever it's important. That's all from me. The next material will be presented by my colleague.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Elly Puji Lestari. I will continue to the next material. The next material is about communication within the organizations and presentations technique. The first one, I will present about communication within the organizations. In the world of work, communications is one of the important things and it's part of the demands of professions or expertise. Good communication skills include the basic ability to send and decipher message accurately and effectively, to facilitate meetings, to understand the best way to disseminate information within an organization, and to understand the symbolic meaning of someone's action. There are two communications that occur in organizations. The first one is macro communications and the second one is micro communications. Macro communications that occurs between the organizations and its environment or with others organizations. And then micro communications that occurs among members of the organizations, between superiors and subordinates, between leaders and between work groups. So micro-organizational communications is interpersonal communications within the organizations. And then the next material is about presentations techniques. One of the most feared things in personal life and professional life is when you have to speak or communicate in front of many people, whether for social events, seminar, business presentations, or farewell speeches. A presentation is an oral communications or speech that has been prepared and delivered in a formal manner. Presentations tend to use supporting tools such as audiovisual and various messaging techniques such as demonstrations, interactive participatory, drama, humor, and other special techniques. And then By using supporting facilitates and special technique in delivery, presentations can turn a speech that tends to be complicated into something interesting or simple. According to Hurt et al., in tubes and most thousands, there are three aspects of experience in public communications. The first one is happen in a place that is considered in public place, and the second one is tend to raise social problems rather than informal and unstructured problems. And the last one is use relatively clear behavioral norms. And the next, there is purpose of the speaker. There are three purpose of the speakers. The first one is to entertain. Entertaining is directed to pleasers. And the second one is giving information. Informing is more centered on the result of obtaining information. And the last one is to persuade or convince listeners, lead to attitude. And the next material will be delivered by Rina Mayanti.
Hello, I'm Rina Mayanti and my lesson number is 80. And I would like to continue our group presentation, and I will explain about preparation of presentation, and the conclusion. So let's start with preparation of presentation. As stated by McNamara in 1996, preparation is the key of the successful presentation. It is because it will bring the benefit for the presenter and the audience, such as saving time and the presenter won't be nervous. For the next slide, there will be a pyramid. This pyramid is the 8 steps to a successful presentation, such as audience analysis, site review, presentation framework, research and a play, script writing or notes, serving with tools, practice, and the last one is delivery. I will explain one by one, and let's move on to audience analysis. Audience analysis means that the presenter must know who is the audience, which includes the detailed information of the audience, such as their profession, gender identity, age, the number of the audience who are attending the event, and their wishes. Then the presenter has to understand on what does the audience want to know. It is supported with William de Wills said that good communication should fulfill the ROI, also known as relevance, original, and impact formula. Now, let's take a look to site review. It means that the presenter should do site review before doing the presentation to know the specific location and the facilities on it. For instance, the availability of sound system, room layout, which includes seating, position of the podium, screen, and so forth. And also room conditions like lighting, air conditioner, and so on. Third, presentation framework. The presenter must decide the goal of presentation. It is because it has relation with the information which the audience needs. Furthermore, the presenter should ask his or her colleague about the topic of the presentation and ask the feedback from them. Afterward, set a theme, make an outline, and develop team into sub-teams. The presenter can add anecdote, quiz, or anything else to guide the audience attention. Fourth, research and analysis. In these sections or in this point is more directed to the presenter's ability in mastering the 3 steps previously, namely audience analysis, site review, and presentation framework. And the next one is script writing or notes. It means that the presenter made PPT slide, transparent sheet or flipboard, video, and so on to help the presenter in presenting the topic. 6. Serving and tools. The presenter must be able to operate slide, overhead projector, and LCD projector. In addition, the presenter must understand the topic just in case there will be trouble during the presentation. 7. Practice and practice. For practice and practice, there are several points such as voice, visibility, behavior, be yourself, confident, target, don't tell too much information, and the last one is don't be too long. I will explain from voice. The presenter must organize the rhythm and tempo and also how to breathe so it won't interrupt the presenter's voice and the audience will understand the topics well. Second, visibility. The presenter makes an eye contact with all the audience and focus on everyone who pays attention to the presenters. Third, behavior. The presenter should behave well during the presentation. Furthermore, be yourself. When doing the presentation, the presenter must be his or herself. The next point is confident. The presenter should be confident in delivering the presentation and behave appropriately to convince the audience. The next one is target. The presenter should be careful in deciding the target. Due to the more specific target, it will help the presenter to decide and deliver the topic. Then, don't tell too much information. The audience will understand if the presenter delivers the specific topic with the visuals and which or support in it. And the last one is don't be too long. The presenter should set the presentation around 30 minutes so the audience won't be bored. And for the next slide, we'll be talking about presentations. According to Gavi in 1991, there are 9 steps the presenter must do. For instance, start with the pause, present the first sentence that comes to mind, maintain eye contact, vocabulary and voice control, put on the brakes, move naturally, use visual aids or props effectively, avoid deviation, and the last one is make a summary. Now let's take a look to start with the pause. It means that the presenter must relax his or herself before doing the presentation. Second one, present the first sentence that comes to mind. It plays the important role due to it will help the presenter to keep in touch with the audience. Third, maintain the eye contact. The presenter can choose to or some audience to maintain the eye contact. Then, vocabulary and voice control. The presenter should avoid fillers during the presentation and speak softly and a little bit louder so the audience will hear and listen to it. Afterward, put on the brake. The presenter should speak slowly and listen to everything that comes from our mouth. 6. Move naturally. Means that the presenter can use the podium effectively and move naturally. For the next point, it is about use visual aids or props effectively. The presenter can use props by setting them to support and facilitate in delivering the topic. Afterward, avoid deviation. The presenter has to stay on track, which relates to the topic. And the last point from presentation is make a summarize. The presenter makes some points by doing summarize to deliver the whole topics to the audience. Now, let's move on to, according to Gambira Said in 2005, there are the 8P, such as be broad, be presentable, be prepared, be relevant, be organized, be receptive, be touched, and be brief. And I will explain from be broad. It means that the presenter should come on time or do the presentation on time. Second, be presentable. It means that the presenter should be present an interesting and useful topics to the audience. Third, be prepared. It means that the presenter should ready for combat. Fourth, be relevant. The topic should be up to date and as promised or expected. Next, be organized. It means that while doing the presentation, the presenter should explain regularly and systematic. And the sixth one is be receptive. It means that the presenter has to accept criticism and suggestion from everyone. Then be touch. Be touch means the presentation should be complete, clear, and true. And the last one is be brief. Means that the presenter should be optimal and as concise as possible. In conclusion, as stated by James A. F. Stunner, communication is a process in which someone tries to provide understanding and information by conveying messages. Communication competence, there are communication environment, source receiver, encoding decoding. Communication competence, order message, channel, feedback, and distraction. Furthermore, for the purpose of communication or to be understandable, to understand the meaning, to make an idea acceptable, and to motivate others. Then, the benefits of studying communication, such as it will give us knowledge about correct communication process. We will know that it has its own specialty, and communication is always needed whoever and whenever it's important. Now let's take a look to the next slide. Communication within organization. There are macro and micro communication. Afterwards, for presentation techniques, there are an oral communication tend to use supporting tools to make the presentation will be more interesting or simple. And there are a purpose of speakers such as to entertain, giving information, and persuade the listener. Now let's move on to a pyramid. This pyramid is talking about preparation of presentation, such as audience analysis, site review, presentation framework, research and play, script writing or notes, surveying with tools, practice, and the last one is delivery. Now let's move on to presentation. Said in 2005 said that there are the 8 P. For instance, be brand, be presentable, be prepared, be relevant, be organized, be receptive, be touched, and be brief. That's all from us. Thank you so much for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.